21. Acquisition of a Hasidut. He says the most helpful thing to acquire Hasidut is to remember how low a man is, and how great Hashem is, and how much Hashem does for us, and how a person has to know Hashem cares for us like a father cares for his son. If you read for the words of King David in Tehillim, you will see how much love and connection he feels to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and therefore that what makes him King David describes himself, right? Ki hasidani. He says to Hashem, I am a Hasid. But a person has to know that this is what helps a person tremendously to be able to connect and to be a Hasid, is to remember the love and the relationship and how much of a distance there is between us and HaKadosh Baruch Hu. What's mafsidei Hasidut? Tirado da'agot. The things that take away the most from being a Hasid is worries and preoccupations, because when your mind is not fully there, you'll make a lot of mistakes, and you won't be able to have the right balance of that we were speaking about before. When to be strict, when not to be strict, when to rebuke, when not to rebuke. When your mind is not fully there, so therefore that's when you fall, and that's why a person has to be always happy and to remove all these worries and preoccupations so that his mind works. As it says, "En shechina shora, lo mitoch atzvut." Right? For example, the Masechet Shabbat says that the Shekhinah does not rest on those who have a tremendous amount of sadness, anger, nervousness. If you have things that are bothering your mind, you won't be able to have the Shekhinah fully. You need to have simcha and yishuv hadat and be settled in your mind to be able to think properly. Kol sheken ha'ana'ah v'tanugim shehem hepchim mamash l'chasidut. If a person who's looking to indulge in this world, like we said, right? The Yetzer Hara is to make all the ta'avot kasher. So therefore, he says this is the polar opposite of Hasidut. These seduce a person to abstain from the pursuit of truth and follow the pursuit of desire. Amnam, מה שיוכל לשמור את האדם להציל מהמפסידים האלה הוא הביטחון. The biggest thing to remove all these bad thoughts is the bitachon, is to throw on Hashem. Right? What did we say last time? Yavcha. Yishlach yavcha al Hashem, right? Yishlach yavo al Hashem nagamri. To throw your burden onto Hashem. They say simple. If you worry, Hashem says, okay, you worry. I won't worry. But if you don't worry, you say, Hashem, I'm not worried. I throw my worry to you. Hashem says, oh, you're not worrying, so I have to worry for you. So therefore, that's what a person should constantly remember in order to be able to have his proper thoughts. Person has to remember that by the sweater brow you will eat. That's ishtadut, right? Torah commanded us we have to do ishtadut, but that's not the one that brings the result. We have to do it, but doesn't bring the result. It's just a box you have to check, right? Derech hamitid shel darkei hasidim rishonim osin toratan yikam melachtan tefela. And what does the Gemara say the original Hasidim used to do? They used to make their Torah the Ikar. The main thing is they're looking forward to is their Torah learning, and their business is a side thing they do. It's like a side job. It's not their main. In America, they tell you, what do you do? Oh, I'm a doctor, I'm a lawyer, that's my life. No, in the Torah is my life. And happens to be at work, happens to be I'm on the side. And we learned the Gemara, Masechet Brachot, the Hasidim Rishonim used to come an hour early before the prayers. They used to pray 1 hour. And then they would stay 1 hour after the praying. So basically there were 3 hours for Shachri, 3 hours for Mincha, 3 hours Arvit. So when do they do anything else? 9 hours a day they're praying. So we explained one time that the zuchud they had was that they threw their burden to Hashem, and therefore when they spent the little hours that they did working, the little hours that they did everything else, they had a lot of siyat d'shmaya. Hashem made it that they were able to accomplish everything very fast. And mind you, that praying, and that they had to fit learning also, and even in their learning they saw siyat d'shmaya. They learned the Gemara the first time, they understood it very well, and they were able to read the commentaries, and everything flowed. They didn't get stuck and have questions and back and forth. They just flowed. Why? Because they had siyat d'shmaya. Why? Because they knew my prayer is the main thing. All the other stuff I don't need to worry so much about. Throw on Hashem my burden, everything will work out. How many people do we know that they don't do the job that they imagined they will do when they were little, and they didn't realize, they didn't understand how Hashem brought them to where they are today, and a lot of things in life are inexplicable. A lot of things in life is just hashgacha pratit from Hashem, and therefore Hasid knows that, and he doesn't think twice about it. He knows it in his bones. He's stubborn about it, like we were speaking about Mordechai. He's stubborn about it, and therefore that's why he always has his yishudat. He always has a settled mind, and he's able to focus when he has to focus on make the right judgment calls. And then we'll start next time. We'll start the midah of humility. Midah of humility. After humility is the midah of yirat het, fear of sin, and then finally we get to holiness, and then we'll finish Mesilat Hashem.